From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade. A suspected killer is behind bars tonight, and more details surrounding the crime are revealed. After a 6-hour standoff on North 27th this morning, the Billings Police SWAT team deployed gas and took 27-year-old Taylor Plainbull into custody. Now, Plainbull arrested on a federal warrant for allegedly killing a prior woman on Saturday in what authorities describe as an ambush-style murder. Police say Plainbull was barricaded at the roadway inn this morning between Pauley and Airport Road. Officers closed the 27th Street area around 4:30 a.m. and despite 6 hours of communication, Plainbull refused to cooperate, so police deployed gas to get him out. The 27-year-old is accused of killing Lanita Goes-Ahead on Saturday in the Blue Creek area. Now, a criminal complaint unsealed today alleges Plainbull committed first-degree murder. Court documents say Lanita Goes-Ahead was driving from Pryor to Billings along with an adult male and a young child. Plainbull, who had previously been in a relationship with Goes-Ahead, first passed her vehicle, then allegedly slammed on the brakes, forcing Goes-Ahead's vehicle into a ditch. That's when Plainbull allegedly approached the car and shot Goes-Ahead. The other man sustained an injury to the forehead. Plainbull then allegedly grabbed the child and drove away. The child was located later. Plainbull is scheduled to appear on Wednesday in U.S. District Court. Support in the form of funds has been pouring into the GoFundMe accounts for two local tow truck operators who were struck and killed by a passing motorist this weekend. 28-year-old Casey Allen and 37-year-old Nick Visser were killed Sunday while recovering a vehicle from Interstate 90 near Columbus. As of 5 o'clock tonight, Allen's fundraiser smashed through the $10,000 goal, bringing in $19,000, and Visser's account has increased the goal to $50,000, having a total of about $40,000 by news time tonight. Now, both fundraisers were set up by the men's employer, Hansers Automotive, here in Billings. Links to donate can be found inside this story at ktvq.com. Well, a huge spike in COVID-19 related deaths today as 18 more victims are reported across Montana. Cascade County announced 12 of those deaths late this afternoon. Each of the victims has died after October 15th, and every individual had underlying health conditions. Missoula County also reports 4 deaths today, and there was 1 victim each in Yellowstone and Lake counties. MTN now reports 342 COVID-related deaths across the state. Well, just one day after slamming the people of North Dakota for their lack of wearing masks, Dr. Deborah Birx, the White House Coronavirus Task Force Coordinator, stopped in Billings today with a strong message. Birx met with local health leaders at Riverstone Health to address the rise in cases here. She says she's traveled the country, and when looking at Yellowstone County, if we don't all take personal accountability, we are in for a challenge.
She said if nothing is done, people will eventually get scared enough because they'll be so overrun with cases, and then they'll start to slow it down. But if people do nothing, if we don't do any more in terms of our individual behaviors, she said we're looking at a very difficult next 6 to 8 weeks.
Now, Felton told me today that fear should not be our motivator. Respect for other people's lives should be. He also just learned today that 2 case investigator epidemiologists from the CDC are headed to Billings next week. He says they will review the current system and discuss improvements here in Yellowstone County. That system, Felton says, was not created to handle hundreds of new cases a day. Well, health officials learn new things about the virus nearly every day. Now, new evidence shows there appears to be more than one version of COVID-19. However, they may have the same treatments. MTN's Annie Johnson has those details.
Just when you think you know enough about the coronavirus, there's always more information and new developments.
The coronavirus that's circulating now is a different kind of subtype of other coronaviruses that are circulating that are known to, we've all been infected by different coronaviruses, but this is a new one.
And new research suggests that COVID-19 has different strains of it, resulting from mutations of the virus.
They're looking at different strains, such as there's one variant called 614G that is known to be the dominant strain in the United States, and they think that it might be spreading more rapidly.
But there's no need for people to panic because if you contact the virus, treatment's still the same.
For the everyday person, it probably doesn't have a big influence on how they're treated or what they need to do.
or how often they'll need to get vaccinated.
At this point, we don't see the variation in COVID that we see in influenza, where they have to come up with a new shot every year. As far as we know for now, it seems like COVID is much more stable and mutates a lot less rapidly. So the vaccine that's developed, or the number of vaccines, shouldn't have to change every year.
There's still a lot of research to be done about the different strains and the virus in general. Reporting at the Bozeman Deaconess Hospital, Annie Johnson, MTN News.
Thanks so much, Annie. Now today, Montana reached 10,000 active COVID cases across the state, 4,000 of which were added in the last week alone. As MTN's John Riley reports, today during a press conference, Governor Steve Bullock addressed rising cases, business compliance, and upcoming holiday celebrations.
Montana joins 46 other states this week in seeing a rise in COVID cases and more hospitalizations and deaths associated with the virus.
This virus has already brought death to over 300 Montanans. As we know, there's a delay in incubation periods, which means we're only going to see our hospitals continue to be stretched.
Bullock says it's going to take Montanans working together, wearing masks and social distancing in order to stop the spread. Last week, the state announced a consumer complaint form where people could submit concerns about businesses not following COVID mandates. As of Tuesday, the state had received 1,300 submissions from 40 counties.
What was encouraging after reviewing these was that there wasn't one comment that we received that was attacking a business or overly negative about the business. Most of the comments were very constructive, and they were basically expressing concern about their own health, health of the customers, health of the workers, and their own coworkers.
With the holiday season right around the corner, the state also stressed the importance of people following guidelines and making plans to help limit the spread.
We're not going to take your holidays away, but what we want to try to do is encourage folks to be diligent and to do these things safely so that we can still continue to celebrate the holidays with our loved ones.
For Halloween, people are encouraged to incorporate a mask as part of their costume and avoid large parties. Trick-or-treaters are asked to stay home if they're sick or if they've been asked to quarantine by local public health. Reporting in Helena, John Riley, MTN News.
Thanks so much, John. Well, there's now 1 week left for Montana voters to turn in their general election ballots. And MTN's Jonathan Ambarian looks at what you need to know if you want to get your vote in time.
While hundreds of thousands of Montanans have already voted by mail, there's something like 200,000 ballots still out there. With 1 week left in the election, officials say if you haven't mailed your ballot back already, your best option is to drop it off in person.
Just to be on the safe side, we do recommend that it's dropped off.
Ballots must be received at your county elections office by 8 p.m. on Election Day in order to be counted. Most counties are accepting ballots in person at the elections office or another location. In Lewis and Clark County, there is one drop box inside the city-county building and a drive-through drop-off across the street. On Election Day, some counties will set up additional ballot boxes in other communities. Tuesday was also the first day of late voter registration. Those who still haven't registered now have to go in person to fill out the form and get a ballot. In larger counties, state law allows officials to remove ballots from their envelopes and securely store them starting the end of this week. They can start running the ballots through the machines on Monday. With so many of the ballots already mailed in, election officials are hopeful they can have much of the counting finished before the 8 p.m. deadline. In previous years, it's taken more than a full day to finish counting Lewis and Clark County's ballots.
So with it being just a one-page ballot front and back, I'm hoping that with Monday and then Tuesday, I would expect to be here past midnight, but hopefully not a 36-hour shift.
Now here in Lewis and Clark County, election officials say if they get the kind of turnout they usually see on Election Day, people may have to line up outside the building because of social distancing. They're encouraging those who want to come down here for late registration or to get a new ballot to do so this week if they can. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
Yellowstone County is on pace to shatter its record for voter turnout this election with 63,000 ballots already returned. Now, even if you haven't registered yet here in Yellowstone County, you still can do so, but you need to go in person to the Montana Pavilion at Metro Park. You can still register even on Election Day, but that's not advised.
Do not wait till Election Day because our office is the only show in town and we'll get swamped all day long. So if you can do it this week. If you're sitting on a ballot at home, I advise you to get it in the mail today or tomorrow. We're lucky we have a processing plant in Billings, so the Postal Service is really good here. But I probably wouldn't mail it past Thursday at the latest if you're in Billings.
Rutherford says at this point it is best just to drop off your ballot at the courthouse or Metro Park. Come election day, there will be 10 drop-off sites throughout Billings, and those locations can be found on our website at ktvq.com. Well, up next on tonight's Q2 530 News and Health Watch, important practices to know that can help aid in reducing your chances of contracting COVID. Also, the chill is on. We'll take you to a true frozen tundra.
And coming up in weather, while the snow we had this past weekend was bad enough, I'd rather have it than what we're about to show you in Oklahoma City. We'll take you there in a few more minutes.